Thank you, thank you. How are you guys doing this afternoon?
Great, thanks.
Good. So we're going to get started and jump right in. So first of all, if I was chatting with, what's your name again? Barry. So I was talking with Barry just seconds before we got started, and he was saying that he had done a stakeholder session class like a few weeks ago, something like that, and it was very boring. So this one's not going to be boring, right? So first of all, let me open up and let you guys know that at the very end, we're going to wrap up with the rap song, right? So we're going to talk about stakeholder management, going to give you a couple of steps to kind of consider, and then we're going to summarize that with a rap song, custom song that was written specifically to cover this material. So hopefully that won't make it boring for you, Barry. All right? So objectives for today, we're going to start off, we're going to explain what HumanSigma is. Then afterwards, we're going to talk about how you can use HumanSigma in your particular workplace, especially as project managers and as business analysts. After that, we're going to talk about, again, we're going to demonstrate how you actually construct and put together a little bit of HumanSigma. So we're going to do a little bit of role play, we're going to do some learning, and then we're going to close things out with a rap song. So guys, sound okay for you?
Awesome.
All right. All right, so first of all, what is HumanSigma? Well, when I did a little bit of research about it, HumanSigma is basically, you guys familiar with Six Sigma? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So HumanSigma is actually where you look at and you study the interaction from a company standpoint between your employee agent and the final person, right? So in most instances, that's going to be your customer, right? So you look at how exactly do we want to go about and measure how that interaction happens, because as an organization, what do most companies want to try to do in that relationship with that customer?
Make it better.
Satisfy, increase revenue.
Absolutely, right? So in order to keep them satisfied and increase revenue or profitability, right, for the organization, they need to work to establish an emotional connection, right? Why is that emotional connection so important? It's important because without that emotional connection, there's nothing to keep the customer tied to you from that standpoint. People like to say that from a decision-making standpoint, that we make decisions based off of logic. That's fallacy, right? That's not really true. For the most part, we have logic that we consider, but most of our decisions are based purely off of emotion. What can I do? How can I sustain a statement like that? Well,
if you look at the advertising industry and all the promotion and advertising they do, they create a need that's not even there.
Exactly, right? So a need is created that's not even there. And then I even take it to something as basic as clothing, right? Clothing is designed to protect us from the elements, period, right? Protect us from the weather, the creatures, the critters, all of that type of stuff that's walking around outside. That's what clothing is for. However, how many people in here have name brand handbags, shoes, jeans, so on and so forth, right? I've got on a custom bespoke suit, right? Purely emotional, because I want to look good when I stand up in front of my audience, right? We've got entire industries dedicated to how you feel as an individual, right? The whole beauty and cosmetic industry. Can you believe that? $1 billion industry, because I want to make sure that my hair is right, right? Because I want to make sure that I have the right color mud that I'm spreading on my face, right? In all practical purposes, right? Right?
You ever see those spinner things that they come up with? They sell them everywhere now. Vintage. What the hell is that? People are buying them left, right?
Right. But it all boils down to that emotional connection, right? So as an organization, you want to strive towards that. And realistically, you look at someone like Macy's or something like that, right? How do they control that? How do they manage that? Well, we're not going to focus on that as much. I wanted you to understand that concept, because we're going to take that concept and we're going to extend it from a retail environment, which everyone is fairly comfortable with, and we're going to move it into how you can use it as project delivery professionals.
Name, please.
Seinfeld, you made a reservation for a mid-size, and she's a small. I'm kidding around, of course.
Yes. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, we have no midsize available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservations.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. See, you know how to take the reservation, you just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
Let me speak with my supervisor.
Here we go. The supervisor. You know what she's saying over there?
What?
Hey, Marge, see those two people over there? They think I'm talking to you. So you pretend like you're talking to me. Okay, now you start talking.
Oh, you mean like this, so it looks like I'm saying something, but I'm not really saying anything at all?
Okay, now you say something else, and they won't yell at me because they thought I was checking with you.
Oh, great, I think that's enough. See you later.
I'm sorry, my supervisor says there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, it looked like you were in a real conversation over there.
But we do have a compact if you would like that.
Fine.
All right. Well, we have a blue Ford Escort for you, Mr. Seinfeld. Would you like insurance?
Yeah, you better give me the insurance because I am going to beat the hell out of this thing.
All right, so you look at that video, and you know the first thing you kind of look at is like, what was the goal of the rental car company? What are they supposed to be in business to do?
Give you a car when you need it.
Give you a car when you need it, right? Now, based off of what we saw, were they accomplishing that goal? No, right? And the goal of Jerry Seinfeld as the customer was to what? To get the car that he had reserved, right? Well, when he goes in, he talks to the lady at the counter. What emotion does she evoke with him when she says, oh, we can't do anything for you? He's frustrated. Frustrated, right? So even if he had actually come in, the car was ready, he grabbed the car and left, he probably wouldn't have anything to say about that experience, correct? Mm-hmm. But the fact that he goes, the car's not held, right, for him, even though he made the reservation, even though he is now going to actually walk away with the car, what kind of feedback is he going to give about the organization, about the company? Negative, right? I mean, so they're in contradiction of what their actual goal is from an organizational standpoint, right? So again, he's going to go out, he's going to be negative. He also admittedly said to them, oh, I'm going to beat this car up, so make sure you give me the insurance because I'm pretty frustrated, right? He's probably not really going to do that, but what he is going to do is probably share that story. Right, and he actually did share the story, right, in this clip of his actual show. I'm sure that was an experience that he had. And so when we look at all of this, what we want to try to do is we want to try to make sure that, A, we're delivering consistently from a customer experience standpoint. What could the car company have done differently, right? What could they have done? Apologize. What else?
Immediately come up with the alternative, a fix for the situation instead of the whole I need to.
So I don't even really understand that, right? Why did she say, first thing she said was, there's nothing that we can do for you. So, I mean, if I was, most people coming in to a rental car place, most of the time they don't have hours of leisure time, right? They are in the process of a destination, right? I'm here, I need to get this, I've got a time set. That's a part of my schedule as I'm going forward. And if you immediately get the feedback that, oh, we don't have your car and there's nothing that we can do for you, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I would probably be very, very upset, right? Maybe even act out a little bit. I don't know, like he did, I'm gonna beat this car up, right? So, I mean, and then that experience does what to the actual environment that everyone else is in the same lobby waiting on cars. Now they're affected by Jerry Seinfeld's experience. So now their emotional connection to the organization is being modified, not by their own experience, but by an experience that's happening in the same room that they are. And so now they're going to feel that impact as well. So as a rental car company, they're not winning from an emotional standpoint, right? Some of the things that we need to think about when we deal with our projects.
Interesting now, it's like, that's Home Depot, right?
Yes.
A lot of these companies now take feedback right on their product, so you can read the good, the bad, the ugly.
Exactly. So I was at lunch actually talking with some people from, I think it's Kent is one of the companies here. And so they were talking about, they're building products or whatever and their customer service in the stores. And I was explaining how, Home Depot has come a long way. And so this is Mike. So, I went into Home Depot in Atlanta. I had a home project that I was trying to accomplish. I was going to do like finish in the basement, and I was going to, DIY. I'm a man's man. I can handle a hammer and a screwdriver. So I was going to, hang some sheetrock and go through all that stuff. But I'm an IT guy, so I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. But it seems simple enough, right? At least to me. So I go in, and I'm sure you guys been in Home Depot before, yeah? It is a labyrinth, right? I mean, you probably need to leave breadcrumbs as you're going through the place so you can find your way out, right? And they're all laid out differently. I don't know why that is, but you go into some Home Depots and, lumber's on the right side of the building, sometimes on the left side of the building. The garden center is on one side versus the other. The aisles are not, not the same. It's just, it can be a challenge if you're not there often. So I walk in, and of course, I'm trying to read all of the aisle caps, and they don't really make a lot of sense also, right? Because on one end of the aisle cap are the things that are on this side, and on the other aisle cap are the list of things that are on that side, right? So you don't really know if you're on this side of the building what's on the other side of the aisle because you can't see that far, right? And so I'm looking around. Mike runs into me and says, "Hey, can I help you?" "Yeah, I'm here. I'm looking for some drywall," because that's what I was looking for, right? Some drywall, some screws or nails, and I think I want to hang this and what have you. And so he immediately goes into this consultative role where he asks me, what kind of project are you working on? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? So through that conversation, he upsold me, right? Instead of doing this, why don't you consider that? And here's a book that can help you. Have you done this before? Blah, 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 blah. We've got some things online, some resources, so on and so forth. And so I walk out of there, with the things that I need to go home for my project as I continue to expand to my basement and do more things, right? Drop ceiling and so on and so forth. I go to Home Depot and I go look for Mike, right? Because again, he gave me that experience, that connection, that emotional feeling that I needed because again, I was stepping outside of my comfort zone to do something new because I wanted to explore. And he facilitated that and made me feel comfortable emotionally. And so as a result of that, I continue to go back to Home Depot and they further that relationship with them as an organization. So, all of the things that we talked about so far, I kind of want to ask you guys, right, in your own words, tell me, what do you think HumanSigma means? What are we trying to accomplish through a HumanSigma approach?
Tapping into the needs of others. Connect.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, right? It's connecting.
Isn't it just customer relationship?
So I would take it further than that and say it's connecting with people, right? The United States, and probably, I don't know as much as about the Canadian economy, I could probably lump them into the same, right? United States economy has evolved beyond a industrial economy, right? We're basically a service. We're not a manufacturing, we don't make stuff. We're a service economy. As a service economy, that really means that the only thing that we sell to other people are interactions between people, right? If I'm working with you as a consultant, you're buying my knowledge and my personality because you feel like you can work with me to get the things accomplished that you're trying to get accomplished. That's powerful, right? That's not a product, and you can't treat it as such, right? That means we have to be aware constantly of our interactions because those are the things that are selling us from a service standpoint. And so, again, making that connection like you're saying. So looking at this HumanSigma, right, again, looking at it in a retail standpoint, taking it now and trying to take it and say, well, how do I use this as an IT professional? What can I do? How do I take and move this on so that I can apply it? Well, again, in retail and in the office are the two different scenarios we want to look at. In retail, it's very clear, right? Customer is the person who has the credit card. The employee agent is the person accepting the credit card, right? And swiping it and handing off whatever merchandise that person has acquired. When we look in the office environment, that customer is going to be our stakeholder. So whoever your stakeholder is your customer. And you, as a technology professional, is the actual employee agent. So with that being said, the type of connection an employee retail should make with the customer is the same type of connection we should be attempting to make with our stakeholders. The question is do we do that? Do we overlook that relationship focused on the job at hand? Right? Do we take the time to get to know the person that we're interacting with, to make an emotional connection with them? Or do we forego that because this is work? Right? Not something that you have to answer, but something that I want you to think about. Right? So now I need volunteer. I need 3 volunteers. All right, that's 1. 2, I need 1 more. Oh, there you go. All right, so I've got 2 different scenarios. What's your name?
Mildred.
Mildred, thank you, Mildred. So Mildred, you have scenario 1, and I want you to be the stakeholder. You can take a chance to look at it. And then Jennifer, I gave you scenario 2, correct?
Correct.
And I want you to be stakeholder 1, and Beth, that's right, Elizabeth, I want you to be stakeholder 2. So I'll give you guys like a couple of seconds or whatever to review, and then we're going to go through these different role play scenarios. And I will be the technology professional. All right. Hi, my name is John from IT. I'm a BA, and I'm here to get the requirements for your project. Sorry I'm late, but my requirements meeting ran over.
Well, hey, John, thanks for stopping by. I have a hard stop in 35 minutes. This project is important, and I can't afford to waste any time, so let's get started.
Sounds good. Let me get my notebook so I can take some notes. I think I left the questions I wanted to ask on my desk. Well, for now, let's start with you sharing the vision for the project and goals.
Well, I guess that means that you didn't read the document I emailed you last week. My calendar is current. Will you reschedule this meeting for a time that works best with both our schedules? And who's your manager again?
Thank you. So, what do we see happen there? First of all, anyone guilty of this? Showing up late, not being ready? No, absolutely not. We're all professionals, right? We're very, very good at what we do.
I know people like that.
You know people like that, yeah, absolutely. But this is what the challenge is, right? Brand new project, you walk in, you're scatterbrained. It happens to us, right? It's not because you're suck, right, or you're horrible at what you do. You just, the last meeting, consumed more time than you anticipated. You're rushing to get there, and you're in this hurried state when you walk into this person, and you're late, right? You got 30 minutes out of your hour. 35 minutes out of your hour is all that remains.
3 strikes.
3 strikes, right? So you have not started this relationship in a positive way. Again, not your fault. The last meeting ran over, right? But there are definitely some things that we need to consider as we're making our schedules, right? So that's where the mistake comes. The mistake doesn't come from the fact that the last meeting ran longer. The mistake comes because we don't build enough cushion in it. Maybe we feel we're overworked and we need to pack meetings adjacently, right? Because we do that. One meeting ends, we scurry to the next meeting. The flaw in that is that the first 15 minutes of that meeting you scurried to, you're not present. You're not present. And we just discussed that our jobs are about interaction. So if you're not present for 15 minutes out of an hour meeting, they're not getting all of you, right? So consider that in your scheduling and planning. All right, anything else that maybe we could have done differently in that scenario?
Well, you could have been the one that said, hey, look, I'm really sorry, I left my book, how about we reschedule? I know you've got a hard stop.
Boom, right off the bat, hey.
Probably should have read the email I sent you last week.
Absolutely, right, because that was a part too, right? You weren't prepared. And again, maybe you did read it, but most of the times the emails that we get, and we read them, how much time do we really take when we read those emails? We scan them.
She says it's important to her. You didn't respond.
Didn't respond, absolutely, right? All of those are the types of things.
You could also turn it around and say, and I'll give you back that 35 minutes.
My gift to you for being late. Another thing that I like to do is grovel, right? No, seriously. And I, recently, so I do a lot of travel, right? So I had some meetings that, again, came in. It was the same exact scenario. Meetings invites came in. I accepted them thinking at the time, because I wasn't paying attention, oh, I'll be able to make this, even though I'm going to be moving back and forth because of travel and things of that nature. I missed this guy's meeting twice, and the people were on the phone waiting on me. And I was like somewhere else on some other meeting because I had changed laptops. There was a bunch of solid reasons why I screwed up. Solid, legitimate reasons why I screwed up, but it didn't matter. I screwed up majorly. And it was a brand new client project that I was going to be coaching on and what have you. And I just fell on my face on the sword, said, hey, listen.
Did you get the job?
Well, no, so I'm a consultant. So this was within the organization.
Oh, you already had the job.
So they kind of had to work with me anyway, but I still but I didn't want them to feel like, I wasn't good at what I did, right? And so I just fell on the sword and I said, hey, listen, there's a whole lot of reasons that I can explain, legitimate things that I feel like, I could explain to say why these things happen. But at the end of the day, none of those matter because I left you guys hanging. That is not how I like to conduct myself. I apologize profusely. I hope that you will allow me to make up this opportunity with you and that we can move forward on a better ground. And that was a phone call. That wasn't, I emailed them a couple of times and I said, hey, let's schedule some time to talk. And I made an appointment just to apologize. Like that was the whole purpose of my call, was to apologize. And so resetting that relationship, right, that was an important thing to try to do. So let's go ahead and go to the second scenario, okay? I really appreciate you guys taking the time to join me today. Since we're all here, do you mind if we start early? Great, so let me introduce myself. My name is John from IT. I'm a PM, and I'm excited to be working with you two on this endeavor to improve our company. Accounting and warehouse operations are going to really optimize our business with this project. This is really huge for you two.
But the question we have, John, is can IT pull it off?
The short answer is yes. As you know, IT has decided to change our Agile to Agile as a software delivery model. Don't be nervous thinking that it introduces more risk, because it does. However, the benefit of using Agile is that we will establish a regular cadence for discussing your project to make sure that we are progressing and being totally transparent with you on that progress. Our team in IT meets daily to uncover any blockers for the project to keep those risks from becoming issues. I admit that there is a lot of change that we will go through but the entire situation is a win-win for us all. Yeah, so you're, I'm sorry. First of all, I read all of the documents you guys emailed me last week. Let's start out by collaborating on a work breakdown structure.
You know, John, that makes me feel good. I appreciate your preparation. This project is important, and you are definitely showing us that you have prioritized it.
Thank you. So, what was it in scene? what was the difference there? What was the difference there?
You came prepared.
Came prepared.
You showed enthusiasm.
Showed enthusiasm early, right? Organized, reviewed the information. Hey guys, let's get started. What else did John do?
You addressed some of the concerns before they even come up.
Before it even came up, right? Hey, I know you heard about this Agile thing versus not discussing the elephant in the room, right? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, I know you heard that we're changing to Agile. That's true, but this is how, and it is risky. Let's not even say that it's not risky because that's not true, right? Yes, there's risk associated with this, but guess what? We're going to talk about it daily so that we can make sure that we can at least try to mitigate as much risk as possible, right? This is how that process is going to change. Yeah, I know you heard about what's going on in the IT group, but hey, this is how we're going to fix it. In addition to that, I talked about, hey, accounting and warehouse operations. What did I say about the project? It's huge for you guys, right? What am I trying to do? Get you to buy into it. Right? So yeah, I'm laying out the risk. I'm getting you to buy into it. I'm getting you to take a look at. I'm prepared. I'm organized. As a result, that emotional connection is going to be very solid. Oh, my apologies. No, that's not the rap song.
Hey, at least you didn't answer it.
Hello? So, all of that being said, I want to share with you guys the 5-step HumanSigma approach. So what this is not some sort of a scientific thing. This is where Clinton read the information related to HumanSigma, digested it, synthesized it, and internalized it and turned it into what I perceive to be 5 steps that can help you take this philosophy and apply it to what you do as project resources and software delivery professionals. So the first step is establish. Oh, yep. You guys have more? There should be more coming. Yes.
I just said no. We're going to keep them.
You're going to keep them all. So we saw this in the actual second scenario, right? First thing we want to do is we want to establish confidence. So if I can get somebody to read the first bullet, can I get you to read the first bullet for me?
So number 1 where it says project confidence?
Yes.
So deliver on all of your promises. Speak in terms of assurance when speaking about the project.
Right. So again, scenario 2, hey, this is the big win. I know that we've got a lot going on in IT. This is how we're trying to address the situation. We'll keep you in the loop as we, make changes and explore more.
There's kind of a pitfall to that, though.
Explain.
Like I work with different IT groups. Customer wants something, I want something. They won't promise anything because they're not sure they can deliver.
Okay. So that's a good point, Barry. So Barry says he didn't want to promise, or some organizations don't want to promise because they're afraid that they can't deliver.
That's in it. Like you got to be able to deliver. Like you build credibility, you lose credibility. It's going to be hard to earn it back, right?
So that's a good point, but is that really true?
No, you can deliver on something.
You can deliver on something. The issue is not, oh my goodness, I can't deliver. The issue is you don't keep me informed soon enough so that I could understand what's going on and I can make decisions around that information, right? That's where I feel like the challenges are within business. We don't want to go and share bad news. That's what it boils down to. Confidence is about, hey, I've got bad news. Things aren't going the way we expected, but this is what we're trying to do to fix that situation. Confidence is also on the very front end to say, hey, we're going through an agile transformation. There's a lot of stuff moving around within IT, and there's going to be a lot of risk associated with that, but this is what we're going to try to do to fix it. Does that mean everything's going to be fixed and it's all going to be perfect? Absolutely not. And you say that, hey, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a bumpy process. We're in this together. That's confidence. That's not promising anything, right? It's just saying, here's what the situation is. Let's be optimistic about it, but let's also work together to collaborate to go through this situation, right? Because you can also very easily say, I'm not certain how everything is going to pan out, customer, but we're all dedicated to getting this done because it's important to the organization. That's establishing confidence. That's not promising any deadline or anything like that, but I get what you're saying, and I think that's fair. You change the conversation, right? You make it to what they're really looking for, which is, can I trust that you're going to give me your all? Yeah. That's what it boils down to, right? Display integrity. May I have a volunteer? Yes.
Number 2.
Yep.
Apply the platinum rule and treat stakeholders the way that they want to be treated. Stakeholders are concerned with fairness as it relates to allocation of resources and processes and systems used on their project. Clear communication and transparency around these items will translate into integrity.
Right? Integrity. People talk about it all the time. What does that really, really, really mean? They just want to be treated fairly. Right? Is my project, if you're saying this is important, how am I feeling like it's important? What is that? An emotional thing, right? It boils down to, how do I feel about this process? And guess what? If you're that person that stakeholder is connected to for this project, that is your responsibility. Are we doing that? Are we carrying out that responsibility? Are we shouldering the burden of making you feel satisfied? Or are we hiding behind, I don't have time for that, right? Because at the end of the day, if you give them that, then when you have problems, when you make mistakes, when things go sideways, as they always do, you're going to get a pass. Because you've made a human connection. Because we're all people and we all make mistakes, right? Some of us more frequently than others, right? But we all make mistakes. Again, I did this presentation last year. The mistake that I said that I made with my client was a couple of weeks ago. This is stuff I know, but I messed up because I'm a human being, as are all of you, right? But we've got to make that connection with those customers, those stakeholders, in order to get that to endure on that human side. Otherwise, if you keep it non-personal, then there's no relationship there to give you some leeway, right?
The collateral that you build, right? The collateral.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, when I was a kid in school, I'd always, beginning of the school year or beginning of my class or whatever, I'd walk in and I'll be crushing it. I'd be on top of things, right? Doing all my homework, getting everything done. Teacher would love me, and then I would slack off. Right? Because I've earned enough grace that it's like, oh, and something must be going on, because Clinton's normally, on time with his assignment. So, oh, it's okay, I'll let you slide. You know what I'm saying? Because again, and I didn't know it at the time, but when you make those relationships, right? I'm serious. You make those relationships and they can further you. They can further your career. They can further anything that you're trying to accomplish. It's because how comfortable do people feel with you? And what do you do to do that?
Like one time I was trying to get a boat across the border, didn't have to pay for it. So I'm chatting with the customs agent, we're talking about her father, low pads, and none of them. And she's like, okay, just go.
Yeah. Yeah, making a connection. How many times do people, again, from a running to do something minor, like with the, you get stopped because you ran a light or, whatever the case is, stop sign or what have you, and, depending on how you interact with the police officer or what have you, they decide, oh, I'll give you a warning this time. But if you were a jerk when they pulled you over, you throw the batting eyes at them, oh, I didn't know, officer. That doesn't really work for me. Yeah, they probably would. Right? It's like, wait a minute, what is it up to? But no, all right, next bullet. I need another volunteer. Yes.
If something goes wrong during the project, be accountable and resolve your stakeholders' need without escalation or hands-off, if at all possible. Be forthright when issues arise and handle them with diligence. The longer things stay broken, the more difficult it is to feel positively about the situation.
Who's got a comment about that? Is that not powerful? Right? So first of all, hey, there's a problem that came up. And instead of me tossing it back up to someone else, can we collaborate to try to fix this? You and I. Yeah, it's my problem. It's affecting your project. Can we work together to try to get it resolved? Right? It brings them into the mix. They're involved. They're not waiting on you to get it fixed. Right? They're not sitting back, evaluating what you're doing, not having insight into the situation. You invite them into the mess. And once you get in here with me and help me figure this out. I don't quite know what to do, right? That's another thing too. How many people often say, how many of you guys say often, I don't really know what to do? I mean, like that plainly, yeah? And it's powerful, right? Hey, you know what? This is an issue, I know it's big, and I don't really know what the first step is to get this resolved. I have some help. Can I get some support, right? Because in doing so, how does that make the person feel? See, we're afraid that they're gonna feel what? Judgmental. Aren't you the professional? But what we're actually gonna do is tie into that human piece. And you might even, instead of just saying, I don't know what to do, you might even tell a story. Have you ever had one of those times where, you felt like you had everything planned out, and then all of a sudden, something out of the left field comes and it just wrecks your entire plan, and you feel lost and hopeless? They say, yeah, I felt that way before. I feel that way right now. I feel like we had a good plan, and this happened, and it just completely took me off my game. I need some help to try to figure this out because I don't know what to do. Can we partner on this? How do you feel when I say that? You feel like, of course you want to help me, right? But if I try to hide it or I don't talk about it or I try to fix it on my own, or I say, hey, the problem XYZ came up, we're going to send it up to someone in IT, you're losing. Right? Even if it's not your responsibility to fix it because of the process, right? I think you have an opportunity to win emotional gain with your stakeholder by getting in the mess. It's scary. It means we have to be transparent. It means we have to be vulnerable. But when people are transparent and vulnerable, how do we feel about them? Sympathetic. We want to protect them. We want to help them. Versus you want to blow them off, or you run across somebody who thinks they knows everything, and you're like, okay, go figure it out then, dude. All right? Right? That's what we do. We don't want to, okay, all right, you got it, go ahead. Right? But if you allow a personal connection, it's going to benefit you and your project. Next. Barry, can I get you to do that one for me?
Yeah, create a positive link. Predictability and past experience promote the feelings of confidence and control. Reinforce a positive self-image for stakeholders. Better the system by aligning the task at hand with their desired solution. Link the success of the project to their personal work image. Be consistent in your actions to stimulate trust in the process, which will lead to positive outcome.
Right. So the short of it is let me tell you how you're going to be awesome because of this. Right? How many people in here do not want to be awesome? Raise your hand if you do not want to be awesome. Everybody wants to be awesome. Everybody wants to be perceived as awesome by their peers. Everyone wants to do a good job at work.
Not all the time, just sometimes.
Just you know, it all depends. I mean, you might like start out like I did, kind of awesome, and then kind of slack off in the end. But no, seriously. No, seriously. Most people want to do a good job, right? They want that win. Find out what the win is. Accounting and and warehouse operations are going to really improve their processes because of this project. You guys are going to be the rock star of this year and we're going to work hard together to get that right. Am I now incented and motivated to help? Absolutely. Is it now something that I'm going to give my full attention? Maybe I didn't understand how big it actually was because I'm in my own little silo. But you're coming in as an outsider and saying, this is an opportunity to win. This is going to give you a lot of credibility, right? People are going to buy into that, yeah.
So obviously, sometimes you're in a situation where you're not feeling that awesomeness and the energy. Then what? Stay away from people?
No, so that's a good point, right? So then if you know that, right, so this is where awareness comes in, right? And it's self-awareness, right? So if you know, all right, I've got this meeting that's coming up and my head's not in the game, is there anything you can do to get your head in the game? Can you go for a walk around the building? Can you go take a smoke break? Can you go, run up and down the steps? Whatever that thing is to kind of get you out of that funk, do you have the time to do that? If not, can you reschedule it? Hey, I know it's last minute, and again, honesty. Hey, I know it's last minute. I had something come up today. My head's just not in the right place. I want to be able to dedicate and give you my undivided attention. Is there any way we can reschedule this for tomorrow? I understand that it's short notice. And if you say no, I'll still be there, but I really want to give you an opportunity to get my best. What are you going to do? Reschedule. Right? And you're not going to hold it against me. But versus, hey, I need to reschedule, or sending an email, or just sending a cancellation meeting notice. That's not going to get it. Pick up the phone. Go by their office. Hey, I had something really set me off my rocker today. I don't know if you've ever had anything happen like that, but I want to be able to give you my best. Of course they've had that happen to them. So they're going to give you a pass because you're making a human connection to an emotion, right? Also, on the positive side, right, that positive link to the project itself. This is a win. This is huge. It's going to revolutionize the way that your department operates, and you're going to be the face of that. Yeah, okay, that sounds cool. But hey, since we're now doing Agile, I'm going to need to meet with you on a daily basis. I know that's a lot, but that's what it's going to take in order for us to be successful. Okay. What time of the day works best for you? Can we do it on a really consistent basis? From a cadence standpoint, it's really best if we could have set time every day that we get together. The value behind that is we both walk in knowing exactly what we're supposed to talk about, and we got a time box from which we're supposed to discuss it. Okay. Because most people want to do good. So if you explain to them why you need them and how their involvement is going to help, they're going to be willing to participate. Next. Back.
Ignite passion. Show your enthusiasm towards the project. Get the stakeholder to help create a solution that sets the standard for all others. Generate a competitive spirit by finding someone to surpass or impress. Make the project a self-fulfilling prophecy for the stakeholder.
So again, hey, you know, the guys in finance department, they put their new, Oracle system in place, and they're rocking and rolling. You saw how much press came out in the company newsletter, so on and so forth. This is our opportunity to do the same thing. Okay, now I'm all in, right? Because I saw that. Linking it to something, getting them excited about it, passionate about it, because when people are excited and passionate about something, they work hard towards it. What can you do to connect them to that emotion for the project? Or are you just like, okay, yeah, this is the project, and I don't really know what the purpose is. I don't really agree with it. I really think we should be doing something different. But, here we are, so let's just make the best out of the situation.
So that's the inside voice?
No, that's people's like outside voice, right? Or it could be your inside voice and you're not realizing it, but your energy is putting that voice out, right? Your energy projects that voice. And then people feel that. That's another thing too. To Barry's point, if your energy isn't right, you shouldn't take the time to be in somebody's face that you need to establish a relationship with, unless you're pretty good at, again, masking it. But for the most part, a lot of us wear our emotions on our sleeves. So, with that being the case, protect the project and the relationship at all costs. By you saying, hey, I need to get my head right, right? So, all of those things kind of tie into this HumanSigma approach. What do you guys think about that? Is this something that you've been seeing that you're doing on a project by project basis? Is there anything about this that you feel like it's difficult, doesn't make sense? It's all common sense. Do we practice it?
I mean, it's great sense. It's where I struggle in my organization. It's like we're always in flux, and I'm not sure who does what. And they're not even sure who does what. You get a call for help, it's like, I want to help you, but God, who do I turn to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I think it's just the self-awareness, because it all makes sense, but if you don't actually think of it concretely and put an action plan in place and think of it that way,
Yeah.
then you might miss some opportunities.
Right. Absolutely.
And there are some people that you'll never get past the A base rate. Like they don't want a relationship, that it's upfront and that's it, right? It's all business.
So that's a good point. Barry says, you know what? There's some folks who are just like, I don't want to be your friend, right? I don't care. I don't like people, right?
All the more reason why you have to really, the second one, display integrity.
Right.
And you have to, any relationship will be based on trust.
Right, right. So again, what can you do? So no, they don't want to talk about their kids. They don't want to talk about what they did this weekend, right? The old classics. Right? Those are the classics. Build rapport. Hey, what you guys do for Thanksgiving? Oh, those your grandkids. All of that kind of stuff. That stuff is good. Superficial though.
But can't you build a relationship based on respecting the fact that they don't want that type of relationship?
Absolutely. And again, to the point of, hey, this is a big win for you. Hey, when we have problems, I'm going to need you to participate in resolving those problems. Hey, when this kind of a thing comes up, this is how we want to proceed. Hey, this is what's going on in our department, and I understand, are there any things that are going on in your department that I might not be aware of? All of those are still developing that stakeholder relationship. And maybe it's not as personable as you might feel comfortable with, right? And I've run into those, right? I mean, my thing was, I learned kind of late in life, actually. So I learned in college. I was a senior, and I had an instructor. I actually had two instructors that really pointed out that I had a great personality. And I didn't really know what that meant, right? And they were like, one lady was like, you're very charming. And I was like, oh. Okay. And I had a computer science program because my undergraduate was computer information systems. and I was taking a C++ class, which was a pretty difficult programming language at the time, and I was crushing it. I mean, I was making A's, and I was doing a great job, and my instructor was like, you don't see many people with, your personality being this passionate and intense about developing software, right? and so, I kind of learned that, my thing is charming, right? Oh, okay, that's my thing. And I don't know if I've interacted with any of you here, but, you probably have seen that, right? That's kind of my thing. And so, that's what I try to win people with. I try to win people with my charm. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you kind of figure out this person and what are you trying to do and where are you in your space, and then I try to connect with you on that level, right, versus what I always do. So it's all about understanding that individual, right, and not categorizing and lumping folks into one bucket, but taking that time to really understand who that person is, because everyone has a motivation, everyone has a desire, everyone has things that they're interested in, right? What are they trying to accomplish? Are you happy about this project? If you're not happy about this project, what can you do to make them excited about the project? What can you inform them of? How can you help them see it in a different light? Right? Does that take effort from you? Absolutely it does. Right? It's psychological, and that's when we feel like, I don't have time for this, all right? And my job is just to get the project done. But if you take that time and make that connection, your project is going to go a lot more smoothly. So that time is difficult to invest up front, and it takes us, again, we get out of corporate mindset and we now are in, personal mindset. And that's a challenge for a lot of us because it's vulnerable. Yes?
How do you know where to draw the line and not get too personal with these people you're establishing a link with?
Again, I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. That's a good question. Her question was, how do you draw the line and not get too personal? I wouldn't be taking people out to dinner and whatnot, but, I think if you, again, where are your comforts, where are that individual's comforts? And again, not so much about the whole friendship piece, as much as it is making you emotionally connected to the work at hand, right? That's the goal. Not so much that you're my bud, but that you are invested in this project, because if you're invested in the project, it's going to be successful, right? Because for the most part, we're dealing with stakeholders who aren't that invested in the project, and it's more difficult. So we're trying to change that piece of it. We're trying to get people to plug into that, right? And so now, let me hold on a second. The speaker didn't turn on right away, so let me start it. Try it again, one last time.
Let's just skip it.
No. I need the speaker. I need my music. I just go with it. Yep, I'm gonna have to, right? Because I was listening for the beat. That's what I was waiting for. Yeah. Software. Projects, manage them so that they don't break. Stakeholders on board, but they not. As for the requirements they got, scope always too much to handle. Project success is a scandal. Relationships is the key to managing projects. You see, HumanSigma. Your stakeholders ain't no dilemma. HumanSigma. Your stakeholders ain't no dilemma. Establish confidence. Trust is not left on the fence. Display integrity daily. Problem solve is no maybe. Create a positive link. Self-image is more than you think. Positive stakeholders are your friend. Project success you want in the end. HumanSigma. Because stakeholders ain't no dilemma. HumanSigma. Because stakeholders ain't no dilemma. Thank you. Thank you guys so very much. I enjoyed you. I hope you enjoyed the session. And y'all have a great rest of the conference.
That was excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.